Perhaps you're wondering, you were just at the coast. How'd you end up in Sacramento? Well, we were driving down said coast and realized driving through San Francisco just seemed like too much to ask for an old RV, with the hills and the traffic. Plus, the road to Big Sur was closed because of landslides. And we didn't even know if the road would be wide enough for the RV, not to mention it was raining constantly, so we started getting really bad leaks, then the engine started making weird noises, and the weather just started killing our mood, and we weren't feeling motivated, and we just tried to get things done, but we couldn't.
We lost our stinky slinky.
All that's to say, we're in Sacramento. This is a spontaneous weekend, and it's Sarah's birthday. And she has specific needs.
So I was like, what makes my perfect day? Starting off with like a dirty chai and a cheddar bagel, a bookstore, so Tony can buy me a book, and then ending the day at my favorite restaurant. And when I was here 11 years ago, there was one bar that I really wanted to go to, but it was either closed or maybe I just didn't want to go by myself. I think we're gonna try and make it there today, so you'll have to stick around to see which bar that is. This is probably the cutest place we've slept at so far. This is like our true first harvest host because we're at a winery, Julietta Winery, in about 20 minutes south of Sacramento. And we're gonna go in to get some, I don't know, wine probably. So with Harvest Host, we pay a yearly like membership fee, and with that membership, we get to camp at places like this for free with the expectation that you go in and frequent the business that's letting you stay there. So if you stay at a winery, they want you to go in for a wine tasting or get a bottle. If you stay at a brewery, they just want you to pop in for some beers. If you stay at a farm, just like buy some eggs or some olive oil. So we're gonna do our due diligence as Harvest Host patrons. Chicken on the premises.
These are the wines that we have open today for tasting or a glass.
Okay.
Or you can get a bottle of anything that's on the menu.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. I got a flight of 4 wines, 2 white, 2 red, and I made her pick because I couldn't pronounce anything on the menu. That is very flashy and upfront while maintaining freshness. Delicate and inviting. The nose opens with aroma. That's quite nice. I like that.
Horrible pour. I got a Lagunitas, hint of Indian Pale Ale, aromas of beer, classic taste.
Of course, the day would start wet and rainy. It's supposed to rain all day too. Still, we made our way to Old Sacramento to kick things off at a saloon for food because, well, we're starving.
So we've been driving through California, and today is my birthday. And prior to today, we were like, what do we want to do for my birthday? And I am a city person, so I was like, I would rather be in a place where we can go out and do things rather than being stuck in the RV if it's raining or like not doing anything. So we made a detour to Sacramento, and I'm so happy to be spending my 32nd birthday in such a beautiful, warm, sunny place. And for my 32nd birthday, because the past 2 years have been very exciting. Last year, we were on a road trip through the Cotswolds. The year before that, we were on a motorbike road trip through northern Thailand. And so I was like, this year, I'm gonna channel the serenity and peace of a low-key birthday. And nothing says low-key more than a gaudy-looking saloon. But I'm glad we went in because aside from the crazy-looking menu, like shaking, I'm so hungry, we got to meet the people behind the bar, like Mac here.
The original Mac, he was the manager. So you'll find his name written all over the place. It's me now.
We shared some laughs with Mac, but then he explained what it is exactly that makes the vibes here so special.
I would say of all the bars I've been to, this bar is the most like family-esque in the sense of you come here, you don't really got to put on the front, you don't got to act the kind of way. We accept you as you are, and it's a fun vibe. I've been here a little over 4 years, and I haven't met anyone that I would say didn't feel like they belong. Also, it also makes Fanny special in my opinion. It's just like, you can come here, whether you're from Europe, we get a lot of that, whether you're from Korea, we also get a lot of Korean tourists here. And everybody, they see the environment, they see the bartenders, the cooks, they're all just laughing and vibing like everybody else.
Nice. Are you originally from Sacramento?
Yeah, born and raised. It's funny because I never heard of this place until the day I walked in and got hired. So I was completely unaware of this entire ecosystem because I wasn't in the bar scene.
The one thing we noticed about this place is everyone who works here seems very passionate about it.
I'm into military bases, college towns, and tourist areas. So yeah, you can keep that. That's yours.
Oh, thank you.
So it was 8 people it took to pump the water.
Oh.
So from yellow bar, yellow to yellow, 2 men right there, 2 men right there, 4 on each side.
Wow.
They had to pump the water out of the hydrant. So that is authentic, came out of San Diego. The other thing that's crazy, in the front, outside, when you look in the window on the left side, that is one of the first robots. 1939 World's Fair.
Meet Alpha the robot, constructed entirely of metal, but controlled only by the voice.
Random that it's not in like this Elon bus. It's in some cheesy old restaurant in a window. Like,
Fanny Ann's is kind of somewhere that you would expect to be kitschy. At a first impression, this might look touristy, but if you actually go inside, really go inside and talk to the staff, you realize there's a whole weird, wonderful history packed into every inch and trinket in that place. Like the robot and the wood fire wagon and Steve McQueen's motorcycle. It's a full-on hodgepodge of stories and collectibles that somehow shouldn't work together, but totally does. I guess if I had to compare it to anything, it would be like drinking inside of a living scrapbook. But to the food, a couple of burgers, a couple of beers, and some fries. The entire place was a hit in our book.
This place just keeps going. You know, I'm all about being quirky, so this is like one of the coolest bars I feel like I've ever been to.
I'm so hungry. I need like 10 minutes to digest, and then I'll be ready for the camera. It's funny, you walk into a place like Fanny Ann's expecting it to be cheesy and walk out knowing about robots and local lore. But the second we left those doors, it was back to wet sidewalks and the gray Sacramento afternoon. Still a good start to my birthday. We're back in Washington.
I probably could have looked this place up before we got here. This is not at all what I was expecting. I just assumed it was just like a normal old town in any city, but it's literally just like the Wild West with all the buildings.
I knew, that's why I wanted to come here.
I wish it was dry, but you can still get a good glimpse of it. Why did you want to come to Old Sacramento?
I wanted to come to Old Sac, as they say, because it's cool. It's like kind of kitschy. It's all old Western themed. When I was here, I was 21, I think, and it was much nicer weather. And I just have fond memories of me wandering around this place by myself. The rain wasn't planning on letting up, so we ducked into the visitor center, mostly just looking for a dry spot. Instead, we met Greg, who ended up giving us way more Sacramento history than we ever expected.
Number one thing in town you got to go see is Sutter's Fort. This was the first settlement in the valley back in the 1830s. Typical story of the gold rush. It's a 90% failure rate for the guys coming here looking for gold.
He rattled off landmarks like he was living here in the 1830s. And while we didn't make it to Sutter's Fort like he suggested, we did take him up on checking out the riverboat and the railroad museum.
I think you have to eat at the restaurant or be a hotel guest to explore much of the boat. That's what it seems like anyway. So instead we used that money for museum tickets. Apparently, if the story is true, Sacramento actually beat out San Francisco to get this place back in the day.
Since we're in Old Sacramento, we had to make our way to the Railroad Museum because I literally was not going to plan for this, but it was been hyped up so much. I was like, all right, we got to check it out since we're here. And the tickets were $12, so it's not too bad. But even if you aren't into railroads and trains, it's kind of cool.
I wish I had my glasses.
The cool thing about this museum isn't that it's some tiny room with a little dusty exhibits. It's massive engines with full passenger cars you could step through. Whole sections recreated exactly as they were a century or so ago. You can stand inside the mail car and imagine the chaos of sorting letters at 40 miles per hour. I think that's how fast these things went back then. Or step inside the sleeper car and feel it rocking back and forth as if it was passing through a town in the middle of the night.
This is rocking. It feels like it's a moving train. This is weird. This is so trippy. It looks like it's moving. Make sure there wasn't glass right there if I run into it.
I do appreciate the little bit of Black history included in the museum.
You can see it rocking from out here.
Woo! That was a way deeper sleep than I thought.
Like the Talladega Nights.
Totally. What do I do with my hands?
This wasn't on the list, but we passed by an insomnia cookie and figured a treat before dinner wouldn't hurt. But we walked maybe about a half a mile before we got to Capitol Books, and then found this gem of a theater too. We'll circle back to that one.
Whoa, what a lineup. Those are all great movies.
So anyway, I bought Sara a book, and then it was time for us to make our way to dinner.
One thing about me, I'm loyal to my faves. I've had the same friend group since I was 10, had the same favorite movie since I was 6, and I've had the same favorite restaurant my entire life, which is Spaghetti Factory. I have literally gone into late night spirals about how I would bankrupt myself to save them if they ever went out of business. I get the same thing, and me and all my sisters get the same thing. So you start with a salad, and you can pick your dressing. We get creamy pesto dressing. If you get anything other than creamy pesto dressing, you're doing it wrong. And then we all get Musicbed spaghetti, and then they end it with ice cream. And 2 of the 3 of us get spumoni, and then your other option is vanilla. So one of them gets vanilla.
Oh, this is cool, yeah.
Like the actual train thing.
Yeah, thank you.
Is it?
One of the waiters here was telling me this one actually used to be an old train station. You could still hear the train going underneath of us too. They still got all the old paintings that used to be in the station. It was my first time sitting in one of the train cars too, which is fun. I don't know if you've ever eaten at a spaghetti factory, but outside of the West Coast, they're pretty sporadic in the rest of the country. So unique kind of experience for a chain.
All right, first course. We're starting strong. An Italian soda and an espresso martini. Then comes that creamy pesto salad and the bread you swear you won't fill up on, but you absolutely do. For mains, we went with the classics. The manager special, which lets you pick 2 sauces. I went with the meat sauce and the brown butter. I cannot say that together. And the brown butter And the brown butter minestra. Sara, being the loyal as she is, stuck with her usual. And in the end, we saved just enough room for the spumoni ice cream. Satisfaction. Remember that old theater we said we'd come back to? Well, Clue was playing at the perfect time and tickets were less than $6 a person. Both of our tickets together were literally cheaper than popcorn in a normal movie theater. Before the show starts, there's a little tradition. This one is who in the audience can perform the best movie death. At any rate, we obviously can't film the movie, so when it ended, we walked across the street to the dive bar. No, not a dive bar, dive bar. You'll understand in a second. See? Dive bar. Get it? Mermaids. They have this huge fish tank in the middle of the bar where they put on live mermaid shows just about every night. The next morning started off by checking something else off of Sara's list. A cheesy bagel. Nothing special, just really good cheesy bagels. Anyway, we're headed back downtown for another one of Greg's recommendations.
Well, it is a much nicer day today, so we're deciding to spend it underground. Greg at the Visitor Center yesterday thoroughly convinced us to do this tour, and by doing the underground tour, we also get free admission to the History Museum, and you know how we love the word free. So we have a tour of the underground at 12, and I'm quite excited. It sounds very interesting.
Will hopefully give you a little bit of an insight. It's less that you could learn all these things about a city just by reading a textbook.
We can't film the underground portion of this tour, but we can show you the museum and the buildings around it, which do a pretty good job setting the stage. But even without showing the underground part, you can piece together the story. Flood so bad the entire city had to literally be lifted up, brick by brick, leaving an entire world underneath that everyone walks on now. And that's what the tour really gives you. This weird realization that Sacramento is literally layered, stacked, and built on top of itself to survive.
It's very interesting history, although I feel like all the history starts in the 1850s, and I want to know about the indigenous people into this land that were here before and presumably during the floods.
Don't get me wrong, the tour does mention how Sacramento was founded and the impact the native people had on where the town should have been built. And the museum has information and artifacts from this land's first people. It just always feels like they're mentioned in passing.
Said I can't even like comprehend historical stories a lot because I get so hyper focused on how bad everyone must have smelled. Sacramento in the 1860s, it's hot as hell. You're probably wearing like wool or some shit. Just sweaty balls, and then now everyone's wet because it's flooded and just gross.
All right, that's Sacramento. We didn't do a lot, but still, it's a more fun city than the internet gives it credit for. We came for a detour on a rainy day and ended up enjoying what little time we had here. We've got more California coming up, so if you want to follow along, hit subscribe and stick around so that you don't miss our next detour.